Hi, I'm Michael Phillips, the Chicago Tribune's film critic, and your host this month on TCM's Friday Night Spotlight. We're shining the light on all kinds of ominous visions of the future. This was always the way with the movies. Audiences have forever been curious about what lies ahead, and in some cases, how bleak things to come just might become. Tonight in our Future Shock Festival, we're presenting 4 movies with futuristic law enforcement officers and what they're up against. And first up is a film starring the man who fully earned the unofficial title of Mr. Dystopia, Charlton Heston. The movie's Soylent Green from 1973. Heston plays a New York City detective in the year 2022. That's 49 years after Soylent Green was released in theaters. According to the plot, which comes from a 1966 novel called Make Room, Make Room, by 2022, overpopulation and murderous pollution levels have killed off most of the plant and animal life. Now, humankind lives off a plankton-based product known as Soylent, and there's a new high-protein variety that's all the rage known as Soylent Green. But there's a story behind that stuff, and that story reaches to the highest levels of corporate and governmental conspiracy. And it's up to the detective, played by Heston, to uncover the truth behind what's for dinner. Heston's character shares a tiny apartment with an elderly professor and current research assistant, played by Edward G. Robinson, here in his last screen role. And though Heston is unmistakably the star of the film, I'd say Robinson steals the show, playing a man old enough to remember what the world used to be like. From director Richard Fleischer, and from the year 1973, a film whose last line, bellowed by Heston, has become a perpetual reference point in the pop culture lexicon. Here is Soylent Green. It's sad, really. The whole mystery behind Soylent Green could have been solved with the nutrition facts label. When he shot the film, Edward G. Robinson had been diagnosed with terminal cancer, and the actor who created Little Caesar and so many other marvelous screen portrayals died in 1973, the year MGM released his farewell movie. Robinson kept his illness a secret, however, throughout the making of the picture. Charlton Heston later said that Robinson never missed an hour of work and was never less than the consummate professional he had been all his life. And Heston added that years later he was, quote, still haunted by the knowledge that the very last scene Robinson played in the picture, which he knew was the last day's acting he would ever do, was his death scene. I now know why I was so overwhelmingly moved playing it with him. Up next, a dazzling police story directed by Steven Spielberg, set in the year 2054, as TCM's Friday Night Spotlight continues.
Tonight on TCM's Friday Night Spotlight, Future Shock continues as Tom Cruise stops crime before it happens in Minority Report. Then Michael York questions his post-apocalyptic world in Logan's Run. And George Miller directs the visceral action classic Mad Max.